we build housing, right? So when I joined, we were building one home a year.
Okay.
Let's be honest, Chad. We were irrelevant,
Right.
If the housing situation out there, just as a business, right?
Right.
The business solution is X. Here's my problem. Here I need to sell X to Y. We were trying to sell X to Y at one unit a year. We'd be bankrupt in a for-profit environment. So I said to the board, we got to change what we're doing. And they bought into the vision of being innovative and capacity and scale. And so today we're building 22 homes. And we have the top restores in the country in this location. We are I would say we're probably the most innovative in Canada in the sense of our building strategies. So we're building tiny homes and hotels for transitional housing. We're doing a lot of different things, and I think that's why the organization is the size it is.
I want to talk a little bit more about the innovation in a second.
Sure.
Before we go there, talk high-level Habitat for Humanity,
Absolutely.
and then bring it down to like what Halton and this location does and what you guys do here. Because we've heard of Habitat for Humanity, and like me personally, I've heard about it from the perspective of like the American branding and reputation it has. And then obviously you do a little bit more research, you see that, okay, there's Canada as well. Oh, and then there's like Toronto and Halton-Mississauga. So I really want you to talk a little bit more about that for my viewers and listeners. Because there's some people that don't even know Habitat for Humanity. And then there's probably more people who know it just like I do, like with the branding from a Canada and US perspective.
Absolutely. Well, and listen, the number one thing is people think Jimmy Carter started our organization.
Yes, which is kind of cool too.
Which is kind of cool, but it's not.
Yeah.
He's just a really big advocate. So you happen to watch him on Facebook right now. There's a Facebook ad going around. He's down and out, but he's still building.
Interesting.
God love him. Did
he start it?
No.
Oh, okay.
He just became an advocate.
That's it.
And him and his wife, they build every year.
Yep.
Every year. And
well, for our millennials, Jimmy Carter was. I forget what number of president he was. I can't
that's a
remember.
Good question.
We'll bring it up in post or
history.
something, but he's an ex-president of the United States of America.
Democrat.
Yes.
Very socially driven.
Yes.
Probably one of the most socially driven presidents in U.S. history.
Yep.
And housing was a big thing for him.
Okay.
And so he basically continued. However, Habitat started with a gentleman named Mr. Fullard. Okay. Mr. Fullard basically started in the South, basically deciding that the only way people could get out of poverty is to earn equity in something.
I love that.
Right? Housing is the best form of equity appreciation you could ever earn.
Well, that's music to my listeners' ears because that's the business that we're in.
Absolutely.
So I totally agree. So continue.
So he started by saying that we needed to rally communities. So Miller Fullard was a philanthropist.
Yep.
He gave everything he owned up for a cause.
Okay.
And he's still involved today. Not so much with Habitat, but another part of his own foundation.
Okay.
But so Habitat started off in the U.S. in what I would call a movement in the sense now it's international. It's all over the world.
Wow.
And there's a difference between the U.S. and Canada, and this is the big difference. In the U.S., they're very faith Christian based still. Okay. And that's just the way they are. That's the format. Canada, we are not. We are multi-faith-based.
Right.
Primarily because I think of the diversity here and a little bit of the difference.
That makes sense
absolutely.
to me. Yes.
So, you got international, which is around the world, and you've got different countries like us and Canada and the US and different places. And then what you do is within the country, we then have what we call affiliates.
Okay.
So there are 54 of us across the country. 54 individual charities operating in individual communities.
Okay.
And that's how you get to that little bit of that local grassroots. So in Ontario, we have 25 affiliates to put it in perspective.
Yep.
And in Manitoba, we got one. Right?
So
to put in perspective,
it's a population thing, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, across the country, we've got 54. In the U.S., they have thousands of chapters, of affiliates. So, again, it's all about population density, size, and scale. So that's how Habitat exists, and it is a not-for-profit charity.
Okay, so I wanted to make sure that you made mention of that. It is non-for-profit. So how does a family get selected for a home?
Good question. So that's changing. Actually, if I was to tell you, 30 years, 20 years ago, it was a very specific kind of process. And you will know from real estate how it's changed immensely in the last few years.
For sure.
Even decades, it's changed rapidly in how we deal with things. Same with how we select families. So families are required to contribute no more than 30% of their income.
Okay.
That is to ensure that they can afford other items.
Okay.
Because as we know in our case, if you can't afford shelter or you are paying more than 30% for shelter,
right,
you can't put food on the table. You have a fight or flight methodology around clothing and kids can't be educated, and you can't get proper health care because you can't get dental because it's too expensive. So Miller Fuller's idea was, if we can cap housing, you can do all the other things in life. You can be more healthy. You can spend time in re-educating yourself. You can be better. You can better yourself. And so,
especially when you know you got a roof over your head, right?
Safety. It's all about safety, right? I come home at night. I don't have to worry about certain things. So Miller's big line was, it's not a handout.
Right.
The whole organization was about a hand up. We don't want to give things away.
Right.
We're there to help, right? Just extend help. A lot of people feel we give homes away. That's the biggest myth in Habitat.
Okay.
Families have to buy their homes.
Right.
But they buy it at a no-interest mortgage.
Yes.
So they can afford it over a long period of time, earn equity and appreciation.
Right.
And now they have a safe...
It's almost like a partnership.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It truly is. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching and listening. Please take a second right now to subscribe and follow us on whatever podcast platform you're watching or listening. It means the world to me. Thank you.